So Disney's Wish has recently premiered on Disney+. Wish didn't perform well at the box office, and neither did their other animated film Strange World. However, they've both managed to do better on Disney+, which is a trend we've been seeing with Disney films. We also saw this with Encanto, for example. Disney might see this as a good thing, but I'm not sure if this is actually good for the company in the long run, and it's definitely hurting them at the theater. However, Disney's current model just doesn't seem to be sustainable, and I'm worried that if the company doesn't change course, they might not be able to bounce back from this. According to this Forbes article, Disney has burned through $11.4 billion on Disney+. The article puts the blame on short-sighted decisions on Disney's part. During the pandemic, the company suffered a lot, since most of their departments were hit directly. Their theme parks, cruises, the theaters, none of it was able to get patrons when everyone was stuck at home, and their only saving grace was Disney+. So Disney invested heavily into the platform, creating tons of new content to add to their already sizable backlog. However, this ended up being a net negative for the company, because although the platform was doing well during the pandemic, once it ended, things changed. Subscribers ended up leaving in droves, resulting in Disney not being able to get a return on investment for all the shows they had produced, which has left them in their current predicament. And on top of that, as we've discussed multiple times on this channel, Disney has not been doing well at the box office, and Disney Plus is a part of that. At this point, people expect that their new movies will be on Disney Plus in a few months, so they're not as willing to go out to the theater to see Disney movies. So not only did they overinvest in Disney Plus, but the platform is also pulling customers away from their movie releases in theaters. Another issue for moviegoers is that going to the theater is pretty expensive now, especially for a family. Inflation since the pandemic has been pretty out of control, and many people have to pick and choose how they spend their money, and it doesn't seem like Disney is taking any of this into consideration. They have a habit of making big budget movies that probably won't be able to make a profit, especially when you factor in the cost of marketing, but they just aren't hitting where they need to at the box office. Last year, they released 8 movies or so, but the overwhelming majority of them flopped. They also have a bad habit of rushing their movies. Wish had a lot of cool ideas, but corporate meddling ended up watering it down. It was so bad that people were questioning if Disney used AI on it. The quality of these recent Disney movies has been lacking, and I feel like Disney might have felt like they were too big to fail. They had been riding high for quite a while. Marvel was printing money, their animated movies like Frozen and its sequel were huge, and their live-action remakes were also huge. But not only did the pandemic hit, they also fell into a formula, and that formula ended up becoming really stale pretty quickly. The modern princesses now all feel the same, and have the same personality of quirky and adorable, and don't have much going on outside of that, Asha being the most egregious example. The early phases of the MCU focused on character, and how they would change over the course of the story, Tony finding himself in captivity, and how he overcomes that, Thor earning the ability to wield Mjolnir, Steve allowing himself to become a human experiment, being mocked by the soldiers he's supposed to inspire, but then earning their respect. And I could go on about all the great things that these movies did, but the recent phases have seriously been lacking focus, and there's a bigger emphasis on comedy and quips than actual character moments. The MCU is basically a shadow of what it used to be. Not to mention, it probably got too big for its own good. They made the Disney Plus shows mandatory to understand what's going on in the movies, like what happened with the Marvels. That movie just felt like it had way too much homework attached to it. It's all just so disappointing to see. The MCU was able to accomplish something that most studios can only dream of, and it was a great ride. And watching it all slowly unravel has been so sad. Just sad. Now they're doing expensive reshoots and delaying their movies, and people are more excited for Deadpool and Wolverine even though that technically wasn't part of the MCU. But when Disney acquired Fox, they integrated Deadpool into the MCU, which at this point might be their only saving grace. For a long time, people have been lamenting the fact that Hollywood just feels like more remakes and reboots all the time, and that doesn't seem to be changing anytime soon. But when their original content includes things like Strange World and Wish, I guess it's not that surprising. But they have made really good movies lately, like Encanto, but their upcoming releases are mostly prequels and sequels. Things like Mufasa, The Lion King, which is based in the remake of The Lion King. That movie did perform extremely well at the box office, but I'm not sure if this new film will be able to recapture that magic considering how much the landscape has changed. their recent remakes haven't been performing to the same level as they used to, on top of consumers not being as willing to go out to the theater to see Disney films. Plus, I feel like the general attitude towards these remakes has shifted, like the pushback that came from the Snow White remake, after the stars made some less than charitable comments about the original, but we'll have to see how far this extends to this new Mufasa movie. They're also making a live-action remake and a sequel to Moana. People have been asking for a sequel for a while now, so it's pretty cool to see. Bob Iger did go on record though saying that this movie was originally intended to be an animated series, but apparently he was so impressed with the footage that they showed him that he decided it should go into theaters. Disney has quite a few animated sequels that were originally just 3 episodes of the animated series that was planned, but the projects ended up falling through, so the company salvaged what they had and turned it into a direct-to-DVD sequel. Hopefully Moana 2 ends up being a cohesive story, because in some of the other originally planned animated series you can really tell they're just 3 episodes thrown together, like with Atlantis 2. We'll just have to wait and see how it plays out, but hopefully it'll be what fans were waiting for. The irony though is that viewers might just wait for it to come out on Disney Plus anyway, so hopefully that works out for them. There was recently a situation with their board of directors, but it looks like nothing has changed coming out of it. I can't comment too much on this subject since I'm not totally aware of everything going on, but I am worried that Disney's going to keep going ahead business as usual. I think Disney would probably benefit from them restructuring their business and focusing on quality content. They've been able to come back from the brink before, and I'm sure they can do it again, but they're going to need to improve their business practices, listen to their fans instead of their shareholders, or their demanding stars.
I'm gonna stand there 18 hours in a dress of an iconic Disney princess. I deserve to be paid for every hour that it is streamed online.
Can't imagine why she got so much backlash. But anyway, that's all just my opinion. What do you guys think? Do you think Disney can still turn this around? Or do you think they're too stubborn and stuck in their ways? Let me know in the comments below, I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching everyone, I really appreciate it. Before I go, I want to give a shout out to our members: Tyrant Carnivore, Shiny Orc Boy, General Bolivar, Depth Charge Media, Samaru163, Gabby Hime, Verdant Range, JVR, Phil C, Taylor Ramirez, Dakari the Professor, Equestron, Norman Sweet Cream, Way Beyond Coincidence, Hunter Rose, 80s Nostalgia Guy, Felix Bam, Lucas Geist, J Draws, Blue Spirits, Meowsers, Sky, Jinke Z, Philip, Isaac Martinez, Garcia XV Legend, Datadyne Executive, Kitsune Fiora, Tobias Weller, Bandito Bane, Owen Wildish, and Mac B909. Thank you all so much for your support. If you'd like to become a member, you can hit the join button next to the subscribe button. We also have a buy me coffee if you want to support us that way. If you enjoyed the video, you can leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content. And that part's free. Thanks again for watching everyone, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.